Hello everyone, welcome to the next session of Python programming. In today's session, we are going to see the statement flow control in Python programming. Statement flow control. Now what is statement flow control? It is the control flow of your program structure and how your statements are going to be executed. So in whenever comes to programming, whenever we are doing the programming thing, then we need to pay attention to the control flow or flow control, that how the control is flow, the data flow and control flow, how the data is passed and how the control structure of any program is decided. So statement flow control means how you are going to execute the statements and how you are getting the output depending on the data you are taking. So basically there are three types of statement flow control in the Python programming. First is the sequence. Now sequence means sequentially in a linear fashion. Before this session, whichever programs we have seen, all those are a type of sequence flow control. That means the statements in the program are going to be executed sequentially. That means this is our statement number 1. Okay. Then after that we are executing statement number 2, and after that statement 3, and so on, like this and so on. So your statement flow control is basically the sequential manner that your statements are going to be executed one by one. So this is the sequence. This is a very basic flow control, statement flow control, because by default if we are not adding the special type of statements, then by default your program is going to be executed as a sequence flow control. The second type of statement flow control is the selection statement flow control. Now selection means we are going to select whichever instructions or whichever statements are going to be executed. It's in the programmer's hand. We are doing the coding. We are coding in such a way that we are going to select the statements which are going to be executed depending on certain condition. So in selection statement flow control, we are going to select which statements are going to be executed. So for example, let's see the structure. This is our statement 1. This is our statement 1. This is the normal statement which we are executing. This will be compulsorily executed. Then we are checking the condition. That condition might be anything. Okay, so we are checking the condition here. This is our conditional expression or conditional statement, condition. Okay, so whenever you are checking the condition, your answer will be in form of yes or no, because this is the condition. The condition might be true or the condition might be false. So you need to consider both scenarios. So suppose this condition is true. Okay, this condition is true. So you are going to execute the statement 2. If this condition is true, then you are going to execute the statement number 2. Suppose this condition is false. This condition is false. Then you are going to execute the statement number 3. Okay, so the bottom line is you are going to select between statement number 2 or statement number 3, right? And here after statement number 3 your statement flow control will be after statement 2, not before this, because this is a part of your selection. If the condition is true, then the statement 2 will be executing and then you will move forward. If the condition is false, then you are executing the statement 3 and then you are moving forward for the main program. Okay, so this is the selection statement. The example of selection statement is the if-else part, which we are going to see one by one. The third statement flow control is the repetition iteration, also called as a looping statement. You know the loop. Okay, loop means some statements are executable in the loop manner, just like your video. If you enable the loop of the video, then your video will be continuous. Even after uh, finishing your video will start with the first first frame. So here also in programming, repetition iteration means some of the statements are going to be executed repeatedly, iteratively. You need the same action is to be taken repeatedly till some certain condition is satisfied, also called as a looping statement. So how the looping statement is going to be executed? Now here also let's consider the structure of the repetition statements. Here your statement number 1. So you are executing the statement number 1 and after that you are checking the condition. Now this condition can be used with the help of for loop, which we are going to see. Then here we are checking the condition again. Now here in the repetition, if the condition is true, okay, then we are moving forward and we are executing certain statement. Suppose this is your statement 2. Okay, after that maybe statement 3. This is your statement 3. If the condition is true, if the condition is false, then you are taking the exit, or you might join the same program ahead afterwards, after your statement number 3. So what is happening basically, this statement number 2 and 3 keep executing till this condition is true. We need to write the condition in such a way that at some point of your program, your condition might be false and then you are taking the exit, but till your condition is true, you keep executing this statement 2 and 3. So basically this will create one block. This will create one block of code which will be executing. This same statement will be executed for 4 times, 5 times, 100 times, and if depending on the condition, it might be enter in the infinite loop. That you need to avoid by placing the condition properly. So this is the repetition, means we are going to repeat the execution of this statement 2 and 3 till your condition is true. Whenever at some point your condition will be false, then you are taking the exit from the loop and then you are joining this exit after statement 2 and 3. So you will enter in the main program. Okay, so this is your third type of statement flow control, which is repetition iteration, also called as a loop. Now let's begin with the selection type of statement flow control. I didn't take the sequence, the first one. Why? Because the sequence is by default. All programs contains the sequential statement that we are going to see. But selection, we are going to focus on selection and the iteration type, because by covering this concept, you will cover 2 important concepts in programming language. So selection example, that means whenever we need to select the statements among many conditions or actions, then we are going to use the if condition part. So here in the selection statements, three types of statements we are going to use. First is the if, only if, then if else. When we have two conditions, and another one is if, elif. You can take elif condition as many times as you want, and else, the last one. We are going to see these statements one by one. First, we are going to see the if condition. Now, whenever you are choosing the conditional or selection statements, you need to pay attention on the syntax, because syntax in Python is little bit different than the another programming languages. So we are going to focus on syntax, because if you make one mistake, you are getting the error in the code. So if statements, the general meaning of if means if this condition happens, right, then what to do. When the situation like this arises, then we are going to use the if statement. First, see the syntax. If keyword, this is the keyword. So if, then put some condition, any condition you want. Now before placing the condition, I am assigning the value first, because we need some data to execute your further operation. So suppose I am taking two variables, a, my first variable 10, okay, and then b, second variable 20. Now I am going to compare between these two variables. Now what I am going to do, I am just placing one condition. So if is the keyword. Now let's pay attention to where I am going to start the statement, because that matters a lot. So if the keyword, I am checking which number is greater. Now number is given in the program, so you can tell easily that which number is greater, but still I will explain this using the if condition. Now I am placing the condition if a is greater than b. Okay, this is my conditional expression, conditional statement, and colon. Don't forget the colon part, because whenever you are going to use the if else statement, your if or else statement will end with the colon. Okay, compulsorily. After entering colon, by default, your cursor, when you are pressing enter after this statement, your cursor will be automatically or by default start after one tab. Those are 4 spaces. I have mentioned this in the previous videos also. So after pressing the enter, my another statement will start from someplace like this. After 4 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, or tab. If it doesn't start by default, then you must enter the 4 spaces before you start the next instruction. Okay, so if a is greater than b, then I am going to print the result, which is a is greater than b if. Okay, and if you want, you can add the another instruction, if instruction as well. Then suppose only if b is greater than a, again colon. Now you will wonder that how the next instruction will start from this, because this is the another condition that you are giving. So it starts with the another indentation block. This is called as a indentation block. I am checking the another condition. If b is greater than a, then print function B is greater than A. Okay. So two simple conditions I have put here. We have both values. Now uh, execute the program. A equal to 10, B equal to 20. I am checking the first condition if A is greater than B. Now is it? Because A's value is 10, B is 20. So this condition is false. It is not true. So you are not going to select this statement. This statement won't be printed because this condition is false. Right? So you will move ahead and you will check the another condition if B is greater than A. Now B is 20, A is 10. Yes, this condition is true. So you are going to select this action, you are going to select this statement, and in the output window your output will be B is greater than A. Okay, so these are the selection part. You are going to select based on the condition you are having. Indentation block means whenever you put the colon after the end of the statement, it will create the indentation. This is one indentation block, this is one indentation block. Okay, you are entering in the block if the condition is true. First condition is false, so you are not entering in the first block, but second condition is true, so you are entering in the second statement. Okay, so this is the basic example of selection statement and if, only if condition. Okay, now I want to add one more built-in function in Python, which is called as an input function. We already have seen the print function before. To display anything, we are using the print function. So in print, in bracket, whatever we are going to write, that will be displayed as it is. Same as print, there is one more built-in function in the Python, which is called as an input. Now input means to take the input from user. Here, what is the difference? We are giving value in the program itself. A equal to 10, B equal to 20. That means we are giving the value in the program itself. So your values won't be changed. You already know the result. But what if I want to enter the value every time I want to enter the different value? While every time executing the program, I am going to enter the different value. So I as a user should have a chance to enter the new value every time. So here, instead of placing the value directly into the program, I am going to use the input function. How I am going to use it? A, as you are declaring the variable A, integer, another third type function, which is the integer function. Now whenever you are using or calling any function in Python, it must include the bracket for the parameters. So first integer. Okay, in integer function I am taking the input. So I am going to open the input function, integer input, and then just give one message for the user. What you are going to do, what you want. So input, here just display one message, enter value 1. For A, we are going to enter value 1 and close the double quotes. Okay, because this is the statement you are going to print. You are opening the double quote, close it, and then first bracket, the inner bracket you are going to close, the outer bracket you are going to close. So here you are giving the right to the user that which value you need to enter. So that value, whichever value user will be entering, that value will be stored in A. Okay, same thing with B. B is equal to integer input, enter value 2. Here I am taking the another value from user and storing that value in B. Okay. Now input function, we understand that why we are using the input function to take the input from the user. Okay, every time I am executing the program. But why this integer? See, whenever you are using the input function, only input function, whichever value is entered by user is taken as a string by default. In Python, if I don't use this integer function, whichever value I am taking, though it is a number, it will be taken as string and the whole operation will be different. Okay, so suppose if I am not taking integer, then if I enter the value 10, 10 won't be taken as number, 10 will be taken as character or string, and it will be very hard for the further part. So whenever you are performing any mathematical or arithmetic calculation, you must use integer function before input function. So what happens here, I am entering the value 10 using the input function. That 10 is entered or taken as string by default. Because of integer function, that 10 string will be converted into integer, that means number. So we can take this. So here for A and B both, we are taking the value from user in string format and then we are converting that value into integer. So here every time you are executing this code, you are having the two different values for A and B. Okay, this is not a fixed value, these are the variables. So first, suppose A equal to 50 and B equal to 30, then first condition will be true and you are displaying the first message, which is A is greater than B. If the first condition is true, then this message will be printed. Also then you are checking the second condition, but it is false, so you are not going to print the second condition. Okay, so this is your basic only if statement. You can put as many as conditions you want here, and then you are just taking the action depending on the conditions you are making. So this is the first type of selection statement. The second type of selection statement is if else. Okay, here we are considering the two conditions. Okay, one is the condition that we are providing and another is the default condition, that whichever condition is remains. Okay, that will be in the else part. So same as the syntax which we have discussed in if, we are taking the example now. Now in this condition, suppose again I am taking the value A from user, right? So with the input and integer function, integer input, enter value. Now whichever value is going to be entered, that will be stored in A. Now I am checking the first condition here, if. Now let's take the condition with the comparison operator. A is greater than equal to 0. This is my first condition. Okay, A is greater than equal to 0. If A value, now I don't have the A value right now, I am taking at the time of execution. So whichever it is, if A is greater than 0, then I am displaying the message print. Now if A is greater than or equal to 0, A must be positive integer value or it could be 0 also. So A is 0 or positive number. I am printing A is 0 or positive number because we are checking two conditions here. Either A would be 0 or it is greater than 0, that means it is a positive number. So if A is greater than equal to 0, I am printing this message. Else, Now which condition is remains? Because a equal to 0, there if we are taking any number, there are only three possibilities. Either that number is 0 or positive or negative. If I am checking both conditions here, positive or 0, only one condition is remaining, that is negative. Okay, so that will be in else part. So in the line of if only, else, again I am not placing the condition here a is less than 0, no, because that is the default condition here, only one that remains. So in that way, if you are having only two conditions, one is you need to mention and another one is default, then you are going to the else part. So if a is greater than equal to 0, it is a positive or 0, else it is a negative number. So just print a is negative number. Okay, so again we are selecting the statement here based on the value of a. Based on the value of a here, whichever value, suppose I have entered a equal to, here I am entering 100. So obviously 100 is greater than 0. So a is greater than 100, sorry 0. 100 is greater than 0. Yes, this condition is true. Then I am printing a is 0 or positive number. Okay. I am not going for the else part. I am not checking. In the previous example where two if were there, we were checking each if because those are the separate conditions. But here either this condition will be true or this condition will be true. So if the first condition is true, we are not checking the second condition. Okay, because obviously it would be false. But if our first condition is false, then we are going to the else part. Suppose instead of 100 I have entered minus 100, which is your negative number. So first you are checking a is greater than equal to 0. Minus 100 is neither 0 neither a positive number. So I am not going inside this indentation block. I am checking this condition. Since this condition is false, I am going directly to the else part and print this message. I don't have to check the a is less than 0 or no. No, because that is the remaining. So I will just print the a is negative number directly. So this is the if else part when you have two selections to make based on the certain conditions, and then you are selecting one of the statement and you move ahead. Okay, as I said before, the first type, sequential type, this is the sequence. After this statement, if this statement is going to be executed, this is the sequential. But here I am making the selection, so these are the selection statements. Okay, this is your if else part. Now we are going for the if, elif, else part. Okay, where you need to make the more than two or three statements or conditions. So in if else you are checking the only two conditions. In elif you can check as many as conditions you need. So elif means else if. Okay, you are checking the else if part when you are having so many conditions. Then if you have any condition, you can add another elif. Okay, if you don't have, you are just going with the else part, that is your default condition. Okay, so if, elif, else, conditional statements. Again we can take the same example when we are checking the number is positive, 0 or negative. Here we are splitting the first condition so that we would have the three conditions here. Again we are taking the number from user, so a equal to integer input and then enter Here you can write down the message, whichever message you want. Enter value 1. I am entering the any value here that will be stored in A. I am checking the first condition. Now whenever I am entering the value, again three possibilities are there. Either that number is positive or 0 or negative. In the previous example we have combined two conditions in first if part, but here we are taking all three separate conditions. So here I am checking the first condition if A is greater than 0. If value of A is greater than 0, I am starting the indentation block here. If value of A is greater than 0, then just print A is positive. Print A is positive. Now here I am checking the second condition, which will be in elif part. I am checking for the negative number. So the second condition is elif A is less than 0. This will be my separate condition. If A is less than 0, then print A is negative. Because A value is less than 0, so definitely the value of A will be negative. And after checking this two, only one condition is remaining. If the number is neither positive nor negative, it would be definitely 0 number. Okay, so that will be in our else part. Okay, again else with colon, and since only one condition is remaining with the normal number, we are not putting that condition that A equal to 0. We are not putting that because that is the default condition. So we are just writing down the message A is 0. That's it. A is 0. So we are just printing A is 0. Now suppose I have entered A is 50. I have entered 50 value, so 50 will be stored in A. So first condition will be satisfied. 50 is greater than A. Sorry, 50 is greater than 0. So only first condition will be checked and the message A is positive will be printed. So if the first condition is true, we are not checking the remaining ones. We don't have to because our first condition is true. Suppose A is minus 50. We are checking the first condition. A is greater than 0. No. So we are not printing this. We are going for the elif part. A is less than 0. Yes. So we are printing A is negative. Okay. And so we are not checking the else part. Suppose we are entering A is 0. So first condition will be false. We are not entering here. Second condition, then we will check the second condition. Second condition is false. We are not entering in here. So by default only one condition is remaining, which is else. A is 0. Okay. So this is your if, elif, else part. And the another part is also there, which is the if within if. Okay, and that is depending on the program or example itself when we are using the if else condition inside one conditional. Okay, first condition. So I am going to cover the programming part in the application itself by following the practical approach. So in that approach I will cover the if within if part. Okay, so for now in the selection statement we are considering this if else and if elif else part. Okay, in next session we are going to cover the repetitive or iteration based statement, and in that we are going to use the for loop. Okay, till then revise this part. Thank you.